So John 17:3, verse 4.
I don't want to be on camera.
So we want to talk about, you're talking about the glory, right?
Yeah, the glory.
What's the argument that God gives him the glory, makes him God?
That he was before the world was.
The glory that he had, has he given it to someone else, the same glory?
Jesus?
Yeah.
I'd have to read the passage. I would have to read the passage.
That means you haven't read the passage, you haven't
John
read the
17
context.
verse 3.
No, whole of chapter John 17.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, I'll show you here. Look.
It's basically going to go to verse 21. So that's what they tend to go to. 21 to 24. Somewhere.
The glory that you have given me,
Yeah.
I have given to them.
Yes, yes.
So if receiving glory makes him God,
No. That's not what makes him God.
one second. So there's two points here. He receives glory. That proves that he's not God, because God cannot receive glory because he has glory. He can give glory.
Repeat.
Anyone doesn't have something, they can receive. Like Jesus receives authority
Right.
or
yes.
power.
Yeah.
It implies he didn't have it in the first place. Because if you had it, you can't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Like if someone gives you knowledge, that means you didn't have that knowledge in the first place. So what it proves, every statement proves Jesus wasn't God to begin with. Then he was given the abilities which you think makes someone
my
God.
argument.
But that's what.
That was my argument.
It's not about your argument anymore.
My argument to him is very different from what you
But
just
that's
said.
not the argument anymore. Now the reality is, using statements like this establishes Jesus wasn't God at one point. And then he was given all these attributes. He gave the glory that he received, the same glory.
How many things existed before Allah created the universe?
We're talking about Jesus.
We're talking about God. We're talking about God.
We're talking about God, right?
Yeah.
So
you believe Allah is the God of Abraham?
wait,
described in the
don't
Bible.
jump to Islamic concept. Let's deal with your concept first,
Yeah.
right? Let's see how coherent it is.
Yeah, John 17 verse 5.
So let's see how coherent it is, first of all, if you don't mind. So in your concept of God, is God self-sufficient?
Yes.
Okay. Is the Father self-sufficient? You sure about that? Okay. Is the Son self-sufficient? Okay. Do you know what self-sufficient means?
Being in and of himself.
Being sufficient by himself. So that means if I were self-sufficient, for my own existence, for example, do I need God to exist?
No.
Exactly. If Jesus is self-sufficient, does he need the Father to exist?
He does need the Father to exist, yes. Because the Father and the Son are one in being.
But before you make another qualification, we're talking about individually. You said he's self-sufficient.
But they are one individual in being.
They're not one.
They are.
They're united.
They are in one.
No,
As
they are
you
united.
yourself-
They're
No.
united. Unity of three.
Unity of being.
Unity of three.
But let me. Well,
So
we're
let's
getting
go back.
distracted here.
Okay, so let's go
what
back again.
existed before the world was?
No,
that
no,
was
no.
my question to
No,
you.
no, just-
no, John 17 verse 5.
We are now talking about something that now you realize.
Glory which I had with you before the world was.
So
what
let's
existed before the world was?
Let's continue about this self-sufficiency thing, because that's where Christians or anyone who believes in this will need to tackle head on.
If you can explain John 17 verse 5.
Wait.
No, we're not leaving John 17 verse 5.
What's in John 17:5 that you're stuck on?
Read it.
Now you tell me, what is it?
Jesus, having existed with the Father from before the world began, proves that he himself is of one essence with the Father. As we read in John 1 verse 1.
Are you sure about
thereby
that?
proving that
You
he is
sure about
God.
that? So if anyone doesn't have a beginning of existence, no beginning of days, no end of days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So Melchizedek or Melchizedek,
As a theophany of Christ.
who is Melchizedek?
Christ.
Christ himself.
Yes, that's what we see. That's what we see in the
Wait.
scriptures. Genesis 14, Psalm.
Does he have a father and a mother?
No.
Does Jesus have a mother?
God the Father.
Does Jesus have a mother? Let's talk about
Not
this.
in the ordinary biological sense.
Oh, 1 second. Jesus has a genealogy. Melchizedek doesn't have a genealogy. Jesus has a mother. Melchizedek doesn't have a mother.
That's because Melchizedek is a type of Christ.
It's not
He's a
about
foreshadowing
type or
of
this.
Christ.
He is a contemporary of Abraham, a
Let me
real
ask you a question. How
person.
many times is Melchizedek mentioned in the Old Testament?
1 second,
I want to
don't
see how
jump.
much you know about Melchizedek.
Don't jump away. So now we have identified an individual who was contemporary with Abraham, right? Contemporary with Abraham.
Melchizedek.
So Melchizedek, being a contemporary of Abraham, he has no mother and no genealogy. Jesus, on the other hand, has a mother and has a genealogy.
He doesn't have a
so,
father.
Wait a second.
And his mother, the motherhood of Mary is
I
different
have
to
given
ordinary
you
motherhood.
two
Virgin
indicators.
conception.
Look, two indicators of a difference. Mother and a genealogy, Melchizedek has none. Jesus happens to have a mother and a genealogy. To say that Melchizedek is Jesus or Jesus is Melchizedek is not his contextual.
How much Old Testament knowledge do you have from Melchizedek?
Wait.
No, I'm asking the question.
How much do you have?
More than you. Yeah.
More than what? Excellent.
How many times in the Old Testament is Melchizedek
Wait. Don't try to
I want to go to
waffle around.
Melchizedek. I want to talk about Melchizedek.
Go to Melchizedek and tell me.
But tell me which are the two verses in the Old Testament where he's named?
You're not going to ask me what I know. Look.
Do you know? Name me the two times in the Old
I don't have
Testament.
to. That's not the point.
You don't know.
Who cares?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Who cares? The question
I can, because I'm going to show you.
The question is now: Is Melchizedek, who has no genealogy, no mother, the same as Jesus? When Jesus has a genealogy,
is a theophany of Christ. He is a type and shadow of the Lord Jesus Christ. And
Jesus
Christ
has a
is
mother.
Not an ordinary mother, not ordinary biological descent. Virgin
Jesus doesn't have a mother?
Conceived in the womb of the Blessed Virgin Mary by the Holy Spirit.
Jesus doesn't have a mother?
Not in ordinary sense of the word.
So every time you have a concept in the Bible, you're going to say, not in ordinary sense.
Why is it in Psalm 110 that the Messiah, the Christ, is called a priest after the order of Melchizedek? Psalm 110.
I am not going to deal with...
Oh, you brought up Melchizedek.
I want to talk about Melchizedek.
You brought him up.
Is
we were talking about John 17 verse 5.
Is Melchizedek someone who is one with no genealogy?
Yes.
Does Jesus have a genealogy?
Jesus is a type of Melchizedek.
I asked you a simple question. I don't have to get an answer because he has a genealogy. That's why
who is Christ's human father? According to, as a Muslim, who is Christ's human father?
You are really running away from the subject matter. What? Jesus has a genealogy. Every single.
Who is the father of Jesus? According to the Quran, who is the father of Jesus?
First, ask this question to yourself. Does the Bible give Jesus a genealogy?
Who is the father of Jesus?
Answer that question.
Answer
that question.
Yes, he's the Son of God. That is his genealogy.
Does the Bible give Jesus a genealogy? The answer is what? Yes. Jesus has a genealogy.
The Son of God, according to the Spirit, the Son of
He
David,
has a genealogy. Why can't you be straight? Why are you so afraid?
I'm not afraid.
Right. Does he have a genealogy?
The Son of God, according to the Spirit, the Son of David.
The answers are simple, my friend. Make it simple. Does he have a genealogy?
He has genealogies recorded in the Gospels.
He has a genealogy. Good. That's it. Make it genealogy. Does Melchizedek have a genealogy?
No.
Then he's not Jesus.
So why is Christ called a priest after the
Don't say Jesus is Melchizedek because they are different in terms of characteristics.
Theophany of Christ, a type and foreshadow of Christ. It's not one-to-one correspondence, it's analogy. Just as David was a type of Christ, Solomon was a type of Christ, we see foreshadows in the Old Testament that are fulfilled in the New Testament. Just as Christ himself said that the temple was a foreshadowing of his own body, destroyed and raised in 3 days according to the scriptures.
So Melchizedek is Jesus, right? Do you consider Melchizedek? Do you worship Melchizedek?
Do I worship Melchizedek? No, but I worship the Christ.
Sorry, what did you say? Wait. Let me slow down.
I'm gonna also
slow down. You said no, 120 miles per second. Yeah. Did you say yes or no?
I'll answer from the scriptures, from Psalm 110, verse 3.
Yeah.
Verse 4. Yahweh has sworn his mind and would not change his mind. You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Christ, God the Son, is called a priest after the order of Melchizedek.
What does it even mean?
It means he is a priest that never dies. Melchizedek never dies.
It doesn't mean he is Melchizedek.
It means that Melchizedek is
He's in the order of.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean he is.
Is a type of Christ.
So now, do you worship Melchizedek?
We worship the one who is the priest after the order of Melchizedek.
I asked you a simple question. Why are you Christians so really complicated? Do you worship Christ?
Yes.
Right. Do you worship Melchizedek? Who is Christ?
No. We worship the one who is the priest after the order.
Now that really shows you're really in a mess with your theology. You said you were trying so hard to prove. You're trying so hard to prove Jesus is Melchizedek, Jesus is God, and you worship him. And yet, Jesus, who is Melchizedek, you don't worship him.
Has no beginning.
If Melchizedek and Jesus is the same individual, why are you interrupting him? Why are you interrupting him? Excuse me, I'm not listening to him, so ignore him. Hecklers need to be ignored.
or
You consider Jesus to be Melchizedek.
non-existent.
And yet, being the same.
Before we started, he knows it. I said to him, we only speak to respectful individuals.
You worship the
And
substance.
we
not
do
the shadow.
He's
no
getting it wrong.
interference.
So,
He says then that we believe that Melchizedek is.
so you consider Jesus is Melchizedek.
I think he's a
No, he's a type of
Christ. He's a type of Christ.
So it's a different person. Different person.
Sure.
Oh, say that again. Is that a different person?
Yeah, it could be a literary representation.
He said yes.
of
What
Christ.
are you saying?
It could either be a literary representation of Christ, or
Is it a different person? I want to hear from
I
you.
think he's a theophany of Christ, but I recognize.
I
that
want
different-
you to tell us, is he a different person? Simple answer. Don't complicate
I
it.
think he's a theophany of Christ.
So simple answer. Is he a different person?
I think he's a theophany of Christ.
Look.
A type
Do
of
you know
shadow.
what the
Do you know what my
by the
question
way?
means?
Do you know what that means?
One second. One second. One
I
second.
guess he doesn't know what
Do
it
you
means.
know
That's
what a
the
different
question.
person means?
Yes.
What does it mean, Mansur?
Is he the same person or a different person?
I think he's a theophany of Christ.
Answer my question.
Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
Answer my question.
Those two-
Is he the same person or a different person?
We don't worship the angel of the Lord. We also believe that the angel
Look,
of the Lord
look.
is the
That
theophany
really of Christ. shows the mess this theology is in.
Yeah, but
I'm
you
asking
don't
you a very
understand
simple
what
question.
he's talking about.
Look, the audience
Okay,
who are going to
for
listen
the
later,
audience,
they will
let us
understand what I'm
describe
talking
what
about.
a theophany is.
Is Jesus the same
Theophany
person
is what we
or a
describe
different person
as a created
to
image from
Melchizedek?
the Old Testament, a time when the divine
You can't have in the middle.
witnessed
Either he's the
by
same person,
physical
same
world.
individual,
An example
or he's a
is,
different individual.
Allah in the burning
What's the
bush.
case?
That's a theophany.
What's the case?
Now, when Allah is in the burning bush,
Is he
is he a different person?
same person
Not really.
or a different person?
I think he's a theophany of Christ.
Answer my question.
Yes, but you don't get
Is he the same person or a different person? I give you a binary
What's a
option.
theophany?
Binary option.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, but
does
it
God
doesn't have to
exist
comply
or
to
does he not
binary
exist?
option.
It's a binary question. It's not maybe in the middle.
Well, there is a maybe.
So,
what's the theophany?
look. When somebody says about the existence of God,
Yeah.
he says there may be a maybe option.
Yes.
What a silly
Mansur
response.
said either God exists or he doesn't exist.
When it comes to
I
the
said it's
existence,
binary option. For
when it
example,
comes
you
to
can
the
say that
existence of
is
God,
the existence
either
itself.
God exists or
There you
God
go.
doesn't exist. There's no third in the middle.
Right, but God isn't a being.
Anyone with a
that
sound
exists.
intellect
God is
would
literally
know that's the
existing
case.
himself. That's the
Right.
issue.
So now I'm
God is
asking
some
you
Sky fairy.
I'm asking him not to
That's
talk
the
over
issue.
you because he doesn't think you have a, he thinks you haven't got a brain cell. He thinks he needs to tell me over you because you are incapable of speaking to me. You are like a baby child. You can't even speak.
You're currently projecting.
That's what he's doing. So now, are you going to tell him off?
What's
Rather than
the
just with me?
No, Mansur, no, wait, you can
Right. So I'm asking this
So,
question.
Mansur,
Simple
what
question.
is a theophany?
Is Jesus the same person
And he's
as
answering.
Melchizedek or a different person? It's a simple question.
He's given his
What's
answer.
the theophany?
I think he is Old Testament revelation of Jesus Christ. As for being the same person, I cannot say.
Look, it's only two options, my friend.
No, there isn't.
It's one or the other.
There's many more.
What are the other options?
It could be a typology of Christ.
That's
for
the
example.
typology of Christ. As I said earlier.
Meaning he's not the same person.
That may be the case.
Right. So now you only have two options. You are either the same person or you are a different person. Which one is it? Because this is where it's going to now determine Melchizedek is a different God or not.
The important thing for you is to
No. I am going to now argue that Melchizedek is one of your gods, which you don't worship. So now I want to now know, is Jesus the same person as Melchizedek or different? We can go in both of the possibilities and explain to you why both of the options leads to a mess in your theology.
So if I were to say he's a literary representation of Christ,
What does it even mean?
It means that his genealogy is not recorded in the scriptures.
Is he Melchizedek or is he a type of
Mansur, you
Melchizedek?
asked a question. He was answering you.
Is he
and then you cut
the
him off.
same person?
Now you're being rude.
For example,
go back and
look,
listen to the answer.
You
he
can
gave
be a heckler like him,
Mansur, you asked
but
him a question.
you're a different
If I
person.
were to say if he was a literary representation of Christ,
What does it mean?
not being literally
What does it even mean?
meaning that the way he is described in Genesis 14 is analogous to the way Christ came into the world, having neither father or mother, nor his death being recorded, but rather being eternal and persisting forever, represents the Son of God.
Different person. Well done.
Okay, so
now,
let's say
That's not what he said.
When he was speaking, he did interject. Can you ask your kind friend, when Mansur, can I listen to individual and say when Mansur is speaking, give him the same courtesy that he's giving you. Now, hear me out, but can you advise your
So let's say I give you the benefit of the doubt, and I say that
Right now, he's talking and you're interrupting him.
let's say I give you the benefit of the doubt,
You're
and I say
interrupting
that
him.
he is a different person. What would you
You're
then say?
interrupting him.
right, if he's a different person, now we have another individual who has no beginning of days, nor end of days.
That's a literary term.
The Bible describes what it is. So he has no end of days, no beginning of days. He lives continuously, right? No father, no mother, no genealogy, no beginning of days, no end of days. Now, such a description is only befitting for an individual or an a type of existence which we say is befitting to God. Right, God. Can you now tell me, other than God, can there be another being who has no beginning, no end?
Yeah. That's not recorded. That's all.
Other than God, can there be other existence which has no beginning and no end?
In terms of it being recorded, anybody can do that.
We would say potentially that a literary representation, not having actually persisted forever, but being living forever, in that his death is not recorded in the scriptures, nor is his birth recorded. And in that sense, represents a type
No
of
beginning of days. You can't get rid of that. When you talk about Jesus is the
we don't know when he was born.
no. This doesn't talk about born here. Two things.
Beginning of days.
No beginning of days, no end of days.
Yeah, we don't know. When
Right.
all that, simple.
Look. It doesn't say we don't
So
know.
we answered you.
The text doesn't say we don't know.
It does. It just says no beginning of days.
The text says no beginning of days. So when Jesus says, "I am Alpha and Omega," does that mean
Let us
only what you know and what you don't know?
So let's go to the
Now,
and show us that no means that there is literally no existence of him becoming into being or him dying.
so you have a
Mansur,
text.
go to the
I'm not
interlinear.
talking to you. Don't
Go,
you get
yes,
it?
you are now.
I'm not talking to you.
Go
I don't
to the
care.
interlinear.
Right, look.
Go to the
You want to talk to
interlinear.
me or what?
I'm listening to
No. You want to talk to me or not?
anyone can
Because
jump in.
I don't want hecklers. Because I don't want people who are.
Because you're making a positive claim.
You don't know
I want
him.
you to prove it.
You don't know
Oh,
him.
he does.
Right. You don't know him, do you?
He knows me.
You don't know what a heckler is.
Define it
I'm
for
not a
us,
heckler, he's not a heckler.
Do you know what a heckler is?
Define it for us.
Do you know what a heckler is? Do you know what an insincere person is?
Okay.
Do you know what a comedian is?
Define it for us,
Do you know what a clown is?
because these things all sound like you.
Fully embodied.
All right.
What has he said that's
No.
fun? What has he said that's
Wait.
fun?
A clown and a
Just like
comedian.
each other.
A clown and a comedian is making fun
A
of
clown
things,
and
right?
comedian.
He's not really a sincere person.
Okay.
He's just making a fun of things.
That's fine.
Right.
I'll make
Listen
fun
what-
of you
right.
and your horrible understanding of
Did you-
scripture.
did you hear that?
So, Mansur,
need to help?
Yes. You help this guy. Right.
So,
Yeah. Deal with the heckler.
No worries.
So now we can talk.
Let's go back to John 17 verse
go
5.
back
right?
over.
So
Jesus
John
was
17 verse
with the
6 says
Father
what?
before the world was. He was glorified with the Father before.
Yeah. Go on. Deal with this guy.
So Jesus was glorified with the Father.
Shall we go on this side? Yeah. Let them have their fun, and we'll discuss here. Sorry.
I don't want to have a sequel round 3 or anything. That's
Right. So.
I don't want to. No, I'm not. I don't want to be a savage.
Come on! You came to Speaker's Corner. This is
Yeah, I know. I
happen.
didn't come to be.
What's your name?
Let's continue this another time.
What's your name?
I'll continue this another time.
My name is Mansur. What's yours?
I'll continue this another time.
No problem. No problem. But you know, just reflect on it. One thing I would say to before I don't know whether look, I don't know whether we will live
not the absolute
the very next
okay?
minute.
That's all.
But I want to share with something.
What's
They
your
quote,
share?
Islam is such a simple message to.
Hey,
Because
next
look.
time, but I want you to
No,
explain
I want.
Psalm 110.
I want you to understand before we depart, right? I'm saying is, if you worship anything other than God or associate partner with Him, God in His final message tells us, hellfire will be the eternal abode, no coming out of it. If someone dies in a state of associating a partner with God, like a son or a daughter or whatever, and they die in that state without repenting, they will be in hellfire forever.
Okay, you can explain Psalm 110 to me in a way that's.
Do you want to speak now or another time? Which time?
Another time.
Another time maybe. Okay? Take care.
All right, good job, Mansur. Nice try, okay? Next time, come at me if you want, all right? No, wait, Mansur, you
So what we are discussing here with this individual.
When you go to Melchizedek,
It's okay.
all that is being talked about there is his genealogy. Nothing is being spoken about concerning, for example, him not existing or him having no end of days. For example,
These people,
of Salem.
their salvation depends on me.
Jerusalem.
Without speaking to me, he has no salvation.
Supposedly the king forever. Why was
He will have to follow me. Without Mansur, he has no salvation. His whole salvation depends on speaking to me.
Interpreting the scripture is incorrect.
Right. So, yeah. So as we see, there are certain Christians, they've made their salvation dependent on speaking to me, rather interrupting me or heckling me and really destroying the conversation, right? So we were discussing about an important passage in the New Testament. It's okay. It's still audible. In which actually the verses that they bring along, yarhamkallah, disproves the deity of Christ. And one of the example is this. They say that God gave Jesus the glory even before the world began, something like that. What they don't realize is this. God is perfect. He is not deficient in any of his attributes. He is absolute in his attributes, perfect in his attributes. Like his knowledge, his power, there's no deficiency. If somebody is given power, if somebody is given authority, if somebody is given knowledge, if somebody is given glory, what that means is before it was given to them, they didn't possess it. That means they were gloryless, they were powerless, they were knowledgeless. That means they were not God. So the verses they bring actually disproves the deity of Christ exactly how the Bible should do, because Christ didn't come to tell the people that he was God. So any verses they bring goes against what they adhere so much, because the Bible is very clear. Jesus said in John 17:3, he's the only true God who has sent Christ. So according to John 17:3, which is a verse Christians, unfortunately, they wish it never existed. One day, I fear this verse will be expunged from the Bible. I fear so much. So I want this message to be recorded in history, so that if the Bible has expunged this John 17:3, at least you would know that this verse existed from this video. John 17:3, in which God is identified to be what? One person, not three like the Christians would like to believe. Another example, we talked about self-sufficiency. The individual I spoke to, hopefully we'll have another discussion, says the Father is self-sufficient and the Son is self-sufficient. So I'm going to ask those who are listening, if you are self-sufficient, that means you don't need anyone else for your existence. If I were self-sufficient, I don't even need God to exist, because I exist by myself. That's what self-sufficiency means. That means if Jesus was self-sufficient, he doesn't need.
We took him to the heavenly.
It's okay. If Jesus was self-sufficient, that means he doesn't even need the Father to exist for Jesus to exist. The fact that every Christian will come and say, no, Jesus needs the Father, demonstrates that Jesus was not self-sufficient. If you are not self-sufficient, you cannot be God. So this is something that I would like our Christian community to ponder and reflect on. Because the only being that can be God, in the real sense of the word God, is a being that is self-sufficient. The sovereign, the almighty, the absolute, the independent. And that is Allah, who is not in any way, shape or form dependent on anyone or anything. In any other religion, if you find that someone needs someone else for their existence, like Christ needs Father to eternally, atemporally beget him. He's eternally dependent. Means he can never be God. He's eternally not God. Eternally not God. Not certain point of time, eternally not God, because he's eternally dependent on God. So that really shows you don't need any other arguments to disprove the deity of Christ. You only need one argument, only takes about 30 seconds. Who is self-sufficient? If Jesus is not self-sufficient, he's not God. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.